Welcome to Business on the Vine. I'm your host, Lady Jen Du Plessis, and in this dynamic series, we dive into the challenges, breakthroughs, and victories of entrepreneurs who have turned their passion into success. Welcome.
Welcome to the show. We're happy to have dear friends of ours, Ken and Maris. We are so excited to have you. We've already had an interview for 20 minutes, just showing each other all kinds of stuff. We actually moved Ken and Maris for their positioning as well, so that their names aligned. Right?
You want us to move back?
No, it's all good. It's all good now. It makes more sense. It makes more sense. So we just welcome you into the show. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to join us today. And, Ken and Maris have also been guests on Business on the Vine television show. So make sure that you go check that out when it's released. We hope to have that released in the next month or so and see what we had to say there. And we have a lot more to talk about now. So I'm excited. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
It's great to be here.
And really, Jen, huge congrats on everything you're doing and the way just you're showing up in the world and supporting business leaders and owners. It's remarkable. And we honor you, and we're constantly learning, and we love being in space with you.
Yeah, well, I do too. We always travel together. We share rooms together, right, Maris and I? And you're a great roommate.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I'm not always liking to do that, so I'm happy to have you there. Have you with me when I do that. So let me give just a brief, because we'll have the bio in the notes section, but just a brief rundown of what you guys do. Ken Ashby and Maris Segal, and yes, they're married, are transformational and quantum leaders who consult, coach, and collaborate with executives, entrepreneurs, and rising leaders to bring their professional, personal, and philanthropic vision to life. This husband and wife dynamic duo recognized human capacity and leadership as the cornerstones of every accomplishment and challenge. And we're going to go deeper, obviously, into this. As authors of their book, The R Factor, they are entertaining. To show it. And it's right behind you, too. Yeah. It's an entertaining story of evolving relationships, and it goes really to the core of their work. They're TEDx speakers, and recently they were individually recognized by the White House with the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award for their philanthropic dedication, and then awarded internationally with the Gentlemen and Women of Hearts Awards, which I received I nominated you, Maris.
You did nominate me, and then, yes, which was such an honor, Jenna, and it really such an honor to be able to accept them together, too. So I love to do that together.
We did. I was just looking at the pictures yesterday. So now the Gentlemen of Hearts Award, did you nominate Ken for this year?
Well, no. So what happened was I was on the phone last year with Desiree, and she had looked at our website and she said, well, why isn't your husband coming? He gets to be honored.
Right.
So it was actually, so last year, Ken was also honored with the Gentleman of Heart Award, but he wasn't there to accept it. So I accepted it for him.
Did you have to carry the 14, each of these awards is 8 pounds?
Yeah, they're gorgeous. And yes, I brought it back.
Well, you didn't tell me that. You didn't tell me.
Sure I did. I actually awarded it to Ken. I awarded it to Ken when I came home.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, those awards were heavy. Well, and we're heading there this year too, which we're excited about. And, I don't know if Brian will go. It'll probably just be me for a quick trip, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Well, I, again, am delighted to have you here. And, I want to kind of break this down a little bit more. Is what you all do is that you work primarily with, and I don't want to exclude anybody, but primarily with corporations and companies in making sure that their heartfelt leadership team or owner, right? The owner, if it's an entrepreneur, that their heartfelt, heart-centered leadership team is clear with the relationship that they have with themselves, clear with the relationship that they have within their family or their household, so that they can bring that to the workplace and create a beautiful atmosphere that is proficient, has lots of productivity and lots of prosperity.
Maris, Jen did that better than you.
Yeah, that's very good. But here's the thing. It's always great when somebody else delivers. That means they understand what we do. Yeah. And simply, and really simply put, our work is focused on relational leadership, right? Yeah. And here's why. Because we know that at the core of every accomplishment and every challenge, every failure It's the human capacity. It's people, right?
Yeah.
So we really focus from the business and life leadership side to really work on turning personal skills, the interpersonal skills into power tools,
Soft
communications, all the things we talk about as soft skills, which interestingly, this big statistic out is remarkable, which says it's from Harvard and a number of other institutions that says 85% of job success comes from soft skills, right?
Yeah,
So
I totally agree.
our business is focused on mindset, heart set, skill set.
Yeah.
And that study, Jen, that study's not recent. It was originally commissioned nearly 100 years ago for an engineering group, nearly 100 years ago. So now we're fast forward. So Harvard talks all about this now, the power and the shifting sands and the importance of people skills. And so that's where our focus is, because the only way to have peak performing teams and people thriving at home and prospering businesses is when our people are invested in, and when then those people also invest in their own work, right? Excuse me. So that's the bottom line, is it's really about up leveling and evolving relationships. And whatever we're doing at work and at home, it's the same. We're showing up the same way. So it really is impacted in the same way.
Yeah, I would say one of the areas that we focus on, maybe it's because I'm a singer-songwriter, but the rhythm of your relationships. And what is the rhythm of your relationships? Because we can all go through this, sort of driving sort of rhythm, or peaceful and calm rhythm. And there's a place for that in all our lives and all our work, but really emphasizing the rhythm of your relationship. So it's one of the things we talk about a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I love listening to what you're putting together. And I think I giggled when you said the statistic about Harvard being to engineers, because as you know, my degree's in engineering, right?
Yeah.
So I have a tendency to be bottom liner, no filter, boom, 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 boom. Let's just get to the bottom line. But I've learned as a, tremendous leader over 4 decades, right, in business, I've learned that you can deliver a very difficult, and I don't want to talk about this specifically, but I just want to point this out, that you can deliver a very difficult thing to say to someone in a way that is received as love, received as giving, even if from my perspective, I'm delivering it hard, because I know, and my clients tell me this all the time. I have lots of testimonials that say, she's going to tell you the truth. She's going to get to the bottom line, and, she's not going to sugarcoat it, but it comes from a place of love. And that's what makes a great leader, is being able to, have these, we're all adults. We need to have adult conversations. Maris and I have had adult conversations about our political sides. I can't tell you how many times, but that's the importance of creating a beautiful relationship. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, I agree. And I think there's obviously a place for all the technical skills and your training and everything, but it is that mutual respect
Bingo.
that comes across when you're speaking with someone. And I think that mutual respect is the opener to that.
And for us, so for us, what's interesting about the work that we're doing now, because, yes, Ken and I have been living, loving, working, and playing together for 20 plus years. And
Seems like yesterday.
it is. It's remarkable, right? And so people always ask us, wait, why, how, and how do you have a personal life? And they always whisper that. We sort of look at each other going, I don't know, it works for us. And so we, over the years, what we've learned in producing papal visits and working with heads of state and hundreds of programs and top brands and small brands and families and cause-related programs, we recognized for us that there were these 4 key relationship rhythms, essentially, that worked for us: respect, responsibility, reframing, and resilience. And so we sort of set out and said, actually, does this work for everybody else? So when we looked at respect, responsibility, reframing, and resilience, and we started to poll the celebrities we were working with, the heads of state, the teams that we were working with on the corporate level, the executives, what came back was these 4 actually, when working in sync all day long, is really what makes a prospering business and a thriving life. And so we hadn't realized we'd landed on that, and we used it in our TEDx talk. It really became the core of our book and everything, because what we've seen now is when you look at each of those, so you say respect, okay,
Right.
respect starts first with ourselves. And we didn't, I mean, I grew up in a very close family, but I don't know if you grew up with your parents saying, respect yourself. I always heard, respect your elders, respect everybody else, be kind to everybody else. But it's an inside out job. Leadership starts from the inside out.
Yeah.
And when we can respect ourselves first, then only can we open the door and be in relationship with others to be in that same respectful place.
How does this, so let's talk about this a little bit, because I mean, I certainly get respect, but when you just were mentioning, I don't know if your parents said, yes, respect your elders, always greet them, always look in the eye, we that obviously has transcended itself into the workplace. And in fact, there's a new study, and I'm not going to give the stats because it belongs to someone else. And in fact, as you're watching this and listening to this, I did an interview with Julie Jones, and I want you to go listen to that interview too, because she talks about etiquette in the workplace, and specifically about etiquette for younger generation that hasn't been in an actual workplace to know how to shake a hand, to know how to do an interview, right? Because they just didn't have that that lower, how would I say, when they were teens, they weren't doing it because
they've
they
grown
were,
up with this.
well, yes, of course, but they were also in the pandemic, right? So they
Yeah.
didn't really have this exposure to know how to function in an atmosphere of business professionals, whether it's networking or, or in the office. But it's interesting. And so her focus is on young kids, like getting them to understand that respect and resilience and all of that in the office. But as you're talking about that, and so yes, it was outward bound, right? It was always, make sure you take care of everybody else. And then for me personally, it was exasperated by the fact that that I was told I was worthless. I was told I would be nothing. And so when you don't have that being told to you to respect yourself, and then you have another layer, and many of us have done that in business, right? And so how do we overcome, the respect of ourselves and those that come with the additional layer of baggage?
I think yes, I think that's a really good question, because it's this sort of work, let's call it work, to go back and revisit where you form some of your limiting beliefs. So this is a limiting belief around respect. How can I respect myself when I've been told all my childhood that you're not going to make it, you're no good, blah, blah, blah. So that's a limiting belief. And we get to go back to those times and really spend time working on how to reframe it.
Yeah.
That's where one of the other aspects comes in, this reframing old stories that hold us back, because we all have them. We all have these old stories that we made up. I mean, humans are amazing, because we want to attribute meaning to everything.
Yeah.
Oh, well, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and I was going to say, well, I forgot what I was going to say now. So that's okay.
No,
That's
yeah,
okay. No, but
it'll
as
come back to
you
you.
were saying something about reframing this, and I know what it was. So when you feel as a business owner, right, or as a sales professional, you feel that, or as a person, that you once had respect, and then where did it go? Like, how when you feel great and you have your superwoman pose or your, whatever pose, and things are going really good, our economy is cyclical, right? Things are cyclical. Our lives are cyclical. How do you, apparently we're all, having allergies today, where we all live in Virginia, by the way, as you're listening to this, we all live in Virginia. So we're having spring allergies. But, when you're on this high and you feel like you have respect for yourself, now that's feel like you have respect for yourself. And then you get into a lull where business isn't going so right. Everything's a little crooked. What used to work isn't working. Have you lost respect for yourself, or did you not have it in the beginning? Are you able to maintain it through everything? And are there tricks and tips to keep our awareness up?
Yes.
I mean, I think that really speaks to a really important issue, and that is that if we measure our respect from an external source,
Yeah.
We're always going to have these ups and downs.
We're always hungry. We're always chasing it.
So the way to around that is maintain your constant respect. And how do you do that? Basically, you can't respect other people if you don't respect yourself.
Right.
So that all of it starts with us, and knowing that the external forces have nothing to do with self-respect and self-worth and self-attitude.
And I can add to that too, that I think that, here's the bottom line to sort of where we sit today, right? How am I feeling today when I wake up in the morning? We get to choose every day how we're going to face the day and how we're going to lead our day, how we're going to show up. That's our choice, right?
Yeah.
So we know the importance of connection, right? Connecting authentically. Connection's currency. So here's the bottom line for all of us is how we connect ultimately either deposits or withdraws something into the currency bank, right? So now when we think about in the morning, wow, I had a really crappy day yesterday. I just lost a deal. But here's the bottom line to that. You also have all kinds of evidence that shows you that you've been through these moments before, that has actually taken you to where you are right now, and that you have skills and tools that are also being used, by the way, in your family, outside. That one moment doesn't define us. So one of the things that is really important, no matter what, is to also wake up in a space of saying, I am grateful. And always in a moment, even when I'm not feeling great, and trust me, I had a couple of rough days last week. I pretty much looked at myself in the mirror and said, okay, face it, freely acknowledge current emotion, face it. Right. And at that point, and then say, what am I grateful for? What has this moment actually taught me? What have I brought to the moment? And then I create a movement, whatever the movement is, or tapping or whatever it is, and I shake it off. And that works. That absolutely works.
Or you sing your gratitude song.
Yeah, I sing our gratitude song.
Your gratitude song.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and we tie music. As we move forward, and we're launching our micro learning programs. Ultimately, that will actually include leadership lessons as well, and we're calling them sound bites. It'll include leadership lessons. It'll also include grounding music and affirmations, so that we'll have that being able to set those rhythms. But I think truly, Jen, the most important part of all this is that we get to recognize that we've come to where we are from the legacy of our past, right?
Yes.
We are framed, our perspective on money, on work, on family, on faith, whatever it is, that comes from a legacy of a past. But when we stand in a space in our present to say, I get to live my legacy, and how do I get to show up? Then the feeling of respect becomes more inside, because we know how we're showing up. We know that we can deliver. We've seen the evidence, right? And having a support circle is equally important to how we're feeling inside, is to be supported with a group that we say tactically enrolling acute minds, team, whoever that is around you, being sure that you have the people around you to also support that navigation.
Yeah. So this support, so let's talk about this, about building teams, because part of this is, well, I've got my act together. Now I've got to bring more people in. And how does that disrupt, that, I mean, you can't, I think it's impossible, but maybe you're going to tell me wrong. I think it's impossible to have an interview with someone and say to them, hey, what are you bringing as limiting beliefs? Because it can't align with us. You're going to mess up our beautiful rhythm and our music that we're creating here, right? So what are some strategies, or is it a onboarding process, an integration process, that someone comes in and we say, hey, one of the things that we do is we want to work with you to make sure that you're a full-bodied person, I don't know, or full heart person, mind person. So give us some strategies on that, as we're thinking about not only the team that we want to bring in to help us grow our business, but the people we want to bring in as counsel, as advisors, as partners, referral partners or vendor partners, whatever the case may be. How is it different looking at any one of those over a team member?
Yeah, I think this is a really good point you bring up, and there is a way to do that in onboarding. Of course, you have to ask permission. You have to say, are you okay? We would like to do this. And then there are amazing online programs, the DISC program, all sorts of other programs, which you can also just do virtually or yourself. So you don't have to have a big webinar, which gives you some insight, or gives the person some insight into how they're coming into it. But in many cases also we get to accept the fact that people grow. And if you're working with us, are you open to growing? Are you open to learning? Are you open to renewing your verve for life and your ideas, which means that you're now training as people go. So it's that onboarding, and then it's also the ongoing training.
I think also, in the end, everybody wants to feel connected, valued, and that they have really accomplished something, right? Mm-hmm. So we talk about purpose, intention, and outcomes, right? And all of that creates vision, right? So now let's think about part of what happens, and you were asking for sort of strategies, whether or not it's onboarding or with a team. The bottom line is when everybody is aligned as a baseline with expectations, then we can operate everything else from there. So whether or not you're bringing in a new staff person, and by the way, Ken and I coached an extensive executive leadership event about a month ago. And two things that were really not eye-opening, but confirming. One was that everybody is struggling with acquisition and retention, right? That's right. And how do we address that? One, we address that by very clear expectations and very clearly setting up in our company a culture that allows a people-first culture, that allows a connection culture, that doesn't just focus on bottom line. Because teams, individuals, leadership across all ages and stages of their journey are still looking for that connection. And right now we're dealing with Gen Alpha and all these other, that's the newer generation. We're dealing with generational and situational leadership on a regular basis. So the bottom line first is aligning expectations of the culture we want to create with our team and in our family, because it's the same, it's living an integrated life, right? And then from there, even in the interview process, it's also natural to be able to say to somebody, you know what, let's talk about what your team that you just came from might have said you're best operating in a challenge. How would you have operated in a challenge? Because then it takes the person out of their own body into the experience of others, and it gives them a place to be able to communicate that clearly. And then you can really see, you can get a sense of someone just from an interview in that case.
I would add another thing on this expectations and aligning expectations. And this is anecdotal, but from a mentee that I worked with who said, I have a hard time because my boss comes to me, I'm busy, I'm doing stuff and I'm working hard and I'm slammed. And the boss comes to me and says, I need this report by tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's something that's totally new on your thing. And he says, I turn around and walk away and go, so how can you change that? I said, well, this is all about expectations. What if you stand with your boss and say, great, I'm going to get you that report. Let me ask you a question. You negotiate. Let me ask you a question. I have a lot of things on my plate today and I will drop them and make this happen. Or how about next Tuesday? Could I get it to you next Tuesday? And generally speaking, a boss who you communicate with and who is communicative will say, Tuesday's fine. Or say, yeah, Joe, I really got to have it today. So go ahead and put everything else aside. Now you're clear. It's not like something's being put on you.
And engaging them in the why, right? We always say when we know the why. So, we say to people all the time, you can keep communicating at your team. Notice the difference in my language versus with your team. And you can be in relationship to them versus with them, which basically means whether or not it's your family or at work, you're saying to them, okay, here's why this is important. Here's where the end zone is. And then we don't always have to agree on how we're getting there, but we always get to align that we are getting to the same place, right? And so that leaves room for space for everybody to feel a belonging, which is critical for retention. One of the number one issues, people don't feel like they belong because there's so many silos. So that's part of what we come in to do, is to say, look, when we go back and focus on our human relations skills, how we communicate, clear communication, listening, really listening from a place of hearing someone, not to listen to solve for. That means we're not present, right? So these are pieces that are really important when we look at the four relationship rhythms, because ultimately that's what builds a prosperous life and a prosperous business.
A famous philosopher.
So let me
Oh,
ask
sorry, go
you,
ahead.
so let me ask you this. Yeah, so I didn't mean to jump in, but
Very good.
so I call that drive-by delegation, right? Because that's really what it is. The manager in this example just did drive-by delegation, just shot a bunch of bullets at you, and you're like, I don't know what to do. That drive-by delegation, and I also call it reverse management, because now what you're doing is saying, hey, if my manager doesn't have the skills, doesn't have the R's that you have, or whatever, the soft skills, or hasn't been trained as a manager, they don't have the ability to do that. I need to recalibrate, reset, retrain, manage them, reverse. And so I think that and by the way, by doing that, you're elevating your own skills for when the time comes that you're a manager.
Well, and that's why this is
Absolutely.
also really about evolving our human relations, because
Of course.
if our business is not evolving, if we are not, look, I mean, the reality is if we are sitting in a stagnant spot, then I'm not growing, and nor is my business, and nor is my team, and nor is my family, period. Right? And so and so we talk a lot about evolving our human relation story. And Ken and I are really focused on a human evolution, our relationship evolution, because that's what it's going to take to really, we're looking at shifting sands and a lot of uncertainty right now. And the more we recognize that how we connect really is that currency, with a space of gratitude, with respect and responsibility, see things and hear people from another perspective and reframe it. And then in resilience, when we're challenged, don't go at it alone. I'm a famous lone wolfer, and we can't in resilience. The only way to be resilient is to seek and gain the support to be able to rise, to be able to navigate through whatever challenge is popping up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the heart-led. Yeah.
I was going to say that when you look at an audience, when you look at a team, when you approach and speak to whoever you're speaking to, one of the things we get to understand is that everybody in front of us want to belong. Maris mentioned it a little bit earlier. They want to belong. Abraham Maslow said many years, he created this thing called the hierarchy of needs. And the hierarchy of needs is a pyramid, basically starting with food, water, shelter, safety, security. Once you get past those two levels, the next level, that before you can get to anything on higher resonance or raising yourself up to a higher level, is belonging.
Yeah.
You need to feel like you belong.
You have a tribe.
Yeah,
You have a tribe, exactly.
And it's really
So-
important that people at work feel that, because when we don't feel that at work, then we are not creating cohesion. And one of the things we talk about when we talk about the rhythm of these relationships is, so we use music a lot. As Ken said, he's a singer-songwriter, and we talk a lot about the importance, as I said earlier, mindset, heart set, skill set. And so, Ken, actually, we've recently released a song.
Well, yeah, we just wrote a song recently, which I'd love to share with you. It's called Higher Heart. And so we'll share it if
Yeah,
you're okay.
so let's take and listen to this song called Higher Heart.
I see the world in a different light when I step back from being right. When I'm curious, judgment fades. When I live with a higher heart, the power is within to create and build trust with how I relate. Every step, every word lifts me up. When I lead with a higher heart, with a higher heart I rise. With a higher heart, like a bluebird I fly. Wisdom teachers knew this. play a bigger part, bring a higher heart. Push another's cart, bring a higher heart. Open up another door, share a higher heart. Give a little more, share a higher heart. Go beyond what is wrong and lead with a higher heart. With a higher heart I rise. With a higher heart, like a bluebird I fly. Wisdom teachers knew this ancient art of a higher heart. Wisdom teachers knew this ancient art of a higher heart.
Wow, Ken, that song was absolutely fantastic and so moving and so applicable to so many different, I don't know, what's the word I want? So many different audiences, right? So many different audiences that you're bringing in. And I love this thought of this rhythm, the rhythm of it. And I play instruments as well.
Yeah.
And it's having that rhythm, in your life, in your work, and feeling like you're always just playing this song all day long. And once in a while there's a wrong note, and knowing how to get back on track and say, okay, let me work on that again. Let me practice that section again, I think is really critical. What a
But
great
one,
job.
one of the things we do with some of our talks is one of the things is talking about the power of music in business. Power of music. It has a great thing, and I had this fun opportunity, and I went back and pulled a annual report from a major five top company in the world, and pulled their annual report and took the first paragraph of it and turned it into a song.
Oh,
And with
wow.
all the facts and figures and everything, it's just like you can
Right.
read the paragraph and go blah, 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 or you can listen to the music and go, oh, I remember that. That was 15%. We're rising.
Well,
We're,
it helps with your
yeah,
cognitive learning as well. I mean,
Well,
exactly.
that's the
It's
right.
just
So
another way to, another way. We as leaders, we get to use all these methods that we can. Certainly, listening is a very powerful way to speak,
yeah.
you
and
know,
listening is a verb.
and it's a verb.
Right.
It's active. It's,
And
I think
music
people sometimes
and
don't.
music and visuals, we get to look at our teams and figure out, what's their best learning approach.
Yeah,
I
I
think the
love
rhythm and the rhythm piece too. I think on the song, which is interesting. So part of our work in kind of navigating through these rhythms is also, people feel every day, all the time. We are feeling all the day. And the bottom line is we get to be in connection to those feelings, because if something's coming up, then we get to recognize it, and one of the things that music does is it allows this space for people to feel into it and to go, yeah, actually that's how I'm feeling. And it tends to open a door for communication very often. So that's really great. And with our songwriting program, we do a lot of kind of team building and songwriting with teams to actually help them align. So we may take key purpose words from the team that they get to create together, and we create this fun play space. And all of a sudden they're tuning into each other, and we're creating music together. And and these are teams that have never even been connected before, right?
I think if I remember correctly, we started it with you.
Yeah, at the retreat, we had,
That's right.
we
That's
all had
right.
a format, a template, and
Yeah.
we just inserted our own words, and it became
Yeah.
our own song, right? With
Right, right.
the same, now, what would you say that, Ken, that not the same tune or rhythm, but the same
The
song, different words?
same song, different
Genre.
words, but it's also, think about creating your own personal anthem, something
Yeah.
you sing. And we all have those songs that maybe
Right.
we already do. But anyway, thank you, Jen, for the
Yeah,
compliment.
well,
and for
and
letting
I'm
us play the song.
Of course, I'm reminded of probably 30 some years ago, we were doing a team building thing, and we came up with different songs, about underwriters, and when I was in the lending business, and about people, and it was kind of a nice
Cool.
little spin-off, and we were acting it out and everything. But I'm reminded about that. I probably have the song someplace. So next time you guys are on the boat,
Cool.
we'll talk.
Love
Look
it.
forward to it.
Love it. Love it.
We'll talk about it. Well, it's been wonderful chatting with you, and there's so much more that we could dissect, but it's only a podcast, right? So I love that you're doing little micro lessons about what you're teaching, and we have the link below so that everyone can get through the gift portal and get your gift that you're providing to everybody. But I want to ask you, what would you like to leave with us today? Do you have a quote or a mantra? And it could be something that both of you use or something that each of you have individually.
Okay, I'll go. Listen to Maris.
That's not your mantra. Are you sharing?
No, well, I just think that one of the things that we're going to share, and you'll see it in the link below, is our gratitude vibe guide. Gratitude is one of the best places to start. If you're in business, if you're in family, if you're at home, if you're with your team, start with gratitude. Yeah. Start with gratitude. Recognize what everybody's grateful for. Acknowledge your folks. And so our gratitude vibe guide is sort of sets that rhythm and that play. And I think that's where I would say, always, if you're not sure where to go to gratitude.
Yeah, I think that's a great one. And we really encourage our clients to start and end your day with gratitude towards your team and your family and yourself. It's a quick email that says, hey, who's got a win for today? So that every win is recognized in your business every day, all the time, because big wins are not the be all end all. It's all the small wins and all the small choices that lead up to that. So that's one. The other is listening is a verb. Listening is a verb. And the bottom line is when we communicate clearly, right, listening is a verb. So that's the other. And the last is, this is an important quote. And this is a quote that will rise or fall with any business.
Quote. I know where it's coming.
Expectations without agreement create premeditated resentment every time. Yeah. If you are not aligning your team, your other leadership, your family, and you're not clearly aligned in what we expect of each other, then there will never be accomplishments on the other side. You'll continuously be out of sync with these four rhythms. Yeah. So when we are in respect, responsibility, reframing, and resilience, and we align our expectations, everything is prospering and our lives are thriving.
I can't tell you how many times I have quoted that quote and using your name, as my friend Maris says, right? I can't tell you how many times I've used it. It's just been wonderful to listen to. And, as usual, it's great to see you all. And
thank you.
I appreciate all of your time. And so I encourage everyone to head on over to our gift vault and make sure that you get the wonderful gifts that Maris and Ken have provided here. And thank you for taking time out of your day. So I'm always going to give some kind of action item. The action item is number one, go and do that, right? Number two is tomorrow, tonight, start thinking about gratitude. Journal it if you need to. I call it a gratitude walk. We go on a gratitude walk every day. And while we're walking, we don't talk because we're doing gratitude. And then it downloads something that my husband and I want to chit chat about. And so that's what we do. So find a mechanism so that you can be reminded of gratitude. Here's another one you could do. If you have a harried day and then you have family you're coming back to, when you get home and pull your car in that garage, do not get out immediately. Just take 3 to 5 minutes to write down or think of some things that are grateful so that you can decompress from the pressures of work and be there ready for your family. That's a great way for you to show up with your family, not bringing all that baggage in. So I encourage you to find some way to do some type of gratitude, and then pick up their book as well, The R Factor. You can pick it up at Amazon. I'm sure they have it on their website as well. But pick up the book, take a look at it, and see if it's something that resonates with you. And if it does, then bring Ken and Maris into your company, into your team, so that they can help, elevate everybody and help you rise.
Can we leave people with a challenge, Jen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so here's the challenge. So for the next week in your life, in your personal and your professional lives, pick 2 relationships that can evolve, that you can evolve. Think about them through the lens of respect, responsibility, reframing, and resilience. And what one step can you do, whether or not it's a relationship with yourself, with your team, with your spouse, with a partner, whatever that looks like, what one thing can you do to evolve, to grow, to elevate that relationship? So look at 2 relationships over the next week, challenge yourself, and send Jen an email so we know how it worked for you.
Yeah. And put it in the notes too, right? I mean, not the notes, but take a minute to just give us a great review and put it in the comments as well. Write us a review, right? Put in there what you learned from this as well. And even if it means a week from now, that's great. And please head on over to YouTube and don't forget to subscribe to us so that we can continue to share all of these great messages with you. So with that, thank you again, Ken and Maris, for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Jen.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us on Business on the Vine. If you found value in today's conversation and would like additional support, go to supportfromjen.com. Remember, the best ideas are always discovered on the Vine, so keep innovating, stay inspired, and continue to grow.